What's up, superheroes? Welcome back to my channel, the place where we make the impossible possible. I'm Scarlet Grace from UnseenSeraph.com. I'm a manifestation coach here to help you manifest your wildest desires with the law of attraction. If you're new here and you want to learn how to manifest any desire fast with the law of attraction and Neville Goddard's teachings, then start now by hitting the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you won't miss any video that could change your life. And if you need some extra help or my personal advice for your situation, coaching will be available until the end of May. It will then close for a few months and will most likely reopen sometime in August. So if you want to book a coaching session now before the summer, this is the time to do it. So today's video is all about quantum jumping. I'm going to explain to you exactly how to make a quantum leap from the reality you're experiencing right now to your desired reality where everything that you want to manifest already exists. The reason quantum jumping works is because there isn't one single version of reality. So we are used to thinking that there is only one reality, the one we're living right now, and we have to manifest things by creating them from scratch in our experience. But this is not true. In reality, there are infinite different versions of reality. And we actually jump from reality to reality all the time. So the first myth that you need to forget about is the fact that quantum jumping is something difficult or something that you may not be able to do or something unnatural. It's in fact very natural. Every time you make a decision, every time you create a new expectation, every time you adopt a new belief, whether positive or negative, this changes the reality you exist in. And you jump to the reality that corresponds to that choice, that corresponds to that belief, that corresponds to that decision. You have done it all your life. It's natural. It's easy. You can absolutely do it because this is the nature of reality. It's actually a feature of reality. This is how it works. The only reason you don't realize that you have been jumping from one reality to the other all your lives is because our brains are wired to perceive time and reality as a linear thing. So you think that you live in one reality and that reality changes, when in fact, every time you change, you automatically jump to a reality that corresponds to the version of you that you are right now. So let's talk about how to actually do it. The easiest, most direct way to jump from your current reality to a new reality is to make the decision that you are already, right now, the version of you that corresponds to the reality that you want to be in. Let me give you an example so that makes sense to you. Let's say that you want a car and you don't have money to buy your dream car. You make the decision that right now, I am the version of me that already has that car. I am that version of me. Because it is your decision who you're going to be. Most of us think that we have a specific identity. We are a collection of likes and dislikes and things, and that doesn't change. This is completely untrue. Your true nature is divinity. Your true nature is God of your reality. God is everything. That means that you are everything. Every possible thing that could ever exist, you already embody it. You are limitless. You're infinite. You embody every single choice that you could ever make. And from all those infinite choices, you select specific things and decide that this is who I am. But this is your decision. And we don't realize that our identities are a fluid thing and not something set in stone, because this is not the way we have been taught ever since we were children. We have been taught that people are a specific way based on their DNA and their upbringing and all those things, and you cannot change. But this is completely untrue. Your true nature is divinity. Your true nature is God of your reality. As God, you decided that you wanted to have a human adventure, and you chose specific things for yourself to build a basic identity, and you incarnated here on Earth, limiting your perception, because otherwise you couldn't experience the whole world. If you're everything, how can you experience anything? Think of it like a video game. So if you're playing a role-playing video game, you look at the game and think to yourself, oh, it would be fun to play, for example, a sorcerer in this game. So you create this character that is a sorcerer. But the sorcerer is not your true identity. Your true identity is the person who plays the game, and you can choose any identity you want. At that specific moment, you chose to play as a sorcerer. But you know, deep down you know, no matter how drawn into the game you are, how focused on it you are, you know that you're actually a human playing a game, and this is just a game. This is how reality works. You came here and decided that, for example, I'm going to be Mary, and Mary will have curly hair, and Mary will have these kinds of things come easy to her, and maybe those things will not come easy to her, because from your divine point of view, there is no right or wrong. There is not good or bad. Everything is fun, and everything is an adventure. So you decided to come here and have specific experiences because it's fun. And I know people wonder when I say that, but then why would someone choose a painful experience? Well, why do we choose to watch movies that are not pleasant? Why do we watch disaster movies? Why do we watch thrillers? So not only the things that we immediately would identify as pleasant are the ones that we actually enjoy. We often enjoy things that aren't obviously pleasant. That's why we watch those movies. That's why we watch those TV series. That's why we play those games that are not pleasant at all. But some part of us enjoys those things. So you came here and decided to be a specific person and have a specific identity. And because the people around you had forgotten that this is a game, that reality is like a virtual reality game, that none of this is real, that it is all an illusion that we created to have fun, you believed that your identity is set in stone and there is only one reality. This is not true. You can choose at any moment to be any person that you want. Any person that matches the things that you want to experience in your reality. So think of it like creating a character for a game, or like being an actor and choosing to play a specific part in a movie. It doesn't matter how far away it is from what you have identified as yourself all this time. You can choose to play any kind of role that you want. Just like an actor is not the person they are impersonating on the screen. They can impersonate all kinds of people in different movies and different TV series. And a good actor is good because they can be one kind of person in one TV series, and then a few years later they get a part in a completely different movie or a completely different TV series, and they impersonate perfectly someone completely different than their previous role. And you say, wow, I couldn't believe that this person had it in them. They are so different than the previous series they played at. But this is what a good actor does, and this is how reality works. So the first thing that you need to understand is that you can be any person you want. Right now, at this very moment, you can decide that you are already the version of you that already has this thing that you want, and that this is natural to you. This is not a big deal. If it is a car you want, you can decide that you are the kind of person who naturally already has that car. If you want a specific person, you can decide that you're naturally the kind of person that would be in a relationship that is happy and pleasant and has nothing negative with that specific person. If there's something that's bothering you in your reality, so maybe your specific person is with a third party, you can decide that right now I choose to be the version of me that is not bothered at all by the fact that there's a third party, the version of me that doesn't feel insecure no matter what, and this is who I am now. And you make the decision that this is who I'm going to embody from now on. This version of you already exists. It is not something that you create from scratch. Again, infinite realities. If you decide that this is the version of you that you want to be, the things that match this version of you will become yours automatically, because you will transfer, you will make a quantum leap from the reality that you have been experiencing up until now to this new reality where you are this other person, and this other person lives in a reality that naturally matches who they are. If you have a negative experience now in a specific area of your life, this is only because it matches your current identity, your current beliefs about yourself, the person that you feel that you are. If you change who you identify as, your experience will change. You cannot have a reality that isn't a match to how you feel right now. That is why the only thing that you ever have to do in order to create a completely different reality is adopt a different identity for yourself. Now, simple as this is, I know that many of you find it difficult. So let me give you a few tips to make it easier for you to use this technique and get the results that you want. The first tip is, if you haven't used this technique before, if you haven't used it and gotten solid results before, do not try to use this technique under heavy emotional circumstances. So in other words, do not try to use this technique for the first time when something awful is happening, something that is really hurting you, and you want to change it. Because from that emotional point, it is extremely difficult to actually make this work. You will just raise a hell of a lot of resistance that will stand in the way. What you actually need to do is, when you're at home, when you're feeling relatively good about life and yourself, take a few deep breaths. You don't need to visualize, but remind yourself that you are the creative power of your life. You are the God of your reality. Nothing external can ever call the shots. Nothing external decides for you. You are not a victim. You're a powerful creator, and you can choose to be, do, or have anything that you want. Anything, absolutely anything. At any moment, you can choose a completely different reality. I want you to spend a few minutes focusing on this knowledge and this realization. You're not a victim. You do not have to win or fight against the circumstances. You do not have to prove anything. You are divine. You are perfect exactly the way you are. There is nothing that can add to your value, and there is nothing that can take away from it. There is nothing that can make you more worthy or less worthy. There is no success and no failure that ever means anything about you, because this is just a game. This is just an illusion. I want you to center yourself in that knowledge that, hey, I am God of my reality, and this reality is just like a game. And when you feel that you are truly embodying that realization, that this actually sounds true, then from that point of control, from that position of power, then you make the decision that, you know what? I choose to embody the version of me that is already rich. I choose to embody the version of me that is already in a steady relationship with Josh. I choose to embody the version of me that has a 6-figure job. But you need to do it from a position of understanding that you are God. You are the one who creates your reality. Because this is the way to avoid having resistance come up. And after you make that choice, it all comes down to being faithful to the choice that you made. In other words, to not allow external circumstances tell you that you're somebody different. You decide who you are. You decide that I'm going to be this version of me from now on. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. Doesn't matter what the circumstances say. Because here's the thing. When you decide that you are a different person, a different version of you, sometimes change happens instantly. Sometimes change takes a while. Sometimes quantum jumping to a different reality may take a bit. But the only thing that can stop the process is if you decide that, no, I'm not actually this person, I'm the old version of me that not only doesn't have that thing, but actually can't figure out how to manifest that thing. Well, if you go back to that identity, you will remain in a reality that proves you right. Because you always, always, always will experience a reality that matches who you decide that you are on the inside. If you decide that you have the thing, you will move to the reality where you have that thing, and this thing is natural for you to have. If you decide that you are a person who always wants that thing, but who will always struggle to manifest it, this is the reality you're going to experience. And this brings me to my second tip. Do not choose an end result based on wanting to feel better about yourself. Choose an end result because it is something that you love to create, because it will be fun. Because the number one thing that I see people do, especially with my coaching clients, and makes their manifestation take a really long time, or they experience a back and forth where things seem to be moving and then they go backwards again, or they stall and then they move again and then they go backwards again. The main reason for that is when we manifest, in order to change something in ourselves or in order to prove something about ourselves. In other words, if you want to manifest a relationship, but the reason that you want to manifest a relationship is because you feel unworthy, and you think that if you manage to manifest this relationship, you're going to feel worthy, it will not work because your identity that you're choosing is I am unworthy. Because only a person that feels unworthy would feel the need to create something, to manifest something in order to feel worthy. A person who is worthy doesn't feel the need to manifest things to make them feel worthy. So either you can be the person who doesn't feel worthy and you're trying to manifest something to prove it, which keeps you in the old reality where you don't have it, Or you choose that right now I am the person that is worthy. I am the version of me that is worthy, and I'm the version of me that knows that he or she is worthy, and I'm the version of me that considers it quite a natural thing. It's not a big deal. I'm worthy. I've always been worthy. And nothing and nobody can take that away from you, because this is something that you are. This is not an object. This is not a thing that somebody can come and take away from you. This is a decision that you make. Only you can decide that I am worthy now, and this is the version of me that I am going to be from now on. And only you can decide that no, this is not true. Nobody else can take that away from you. It's your decision. This is why, if you want to manifest something in order to validate your feelings, it usually fails, so you have a lot of back and forth. So something manifests, but then things go back to the way they were, because you slip back into your old identity. If you say I'm worthy just so that you can manifest this goal, but secretly you want the goal to manifest so that you feel worthy, it will never work. Reality will always match who you identify yourself as. If you want to be in a happy relationship, you need to choose to be the version of you that is already happy, the version of you that doesn't need validation, the version of you that doesn't need a million apologies, the version of you that doesn't need reassurance all the time. If you need all those things and you want to manifest all those things, that means that you feel you don't have them yet. You feel that you need to prove to yourself a point. And that keeps you in a reality where you constantly try to prove something to yourself. So those two cannot coexist. If you're trying to prove something, the reality that matches that is a reality where you never fully have the thing. Because if you fully had it, you wouldn't be the person who is trying to get it to prove a point, right? So those two don't match. And then it all comes down to maintaining that decision and not slipping back to the old version of you. And when you maintain that decision, when you tell yourself that I can be this person now, even if my reality doesn't look that way, I know that this is who I am on the inside. When you make that decision and stay faithful to that decision of thinking of yourself like that, you will see things changing. So it may be external things that change, or it may even be a shift in your mind that lets you know that, hey, what I wanted has already been within reach. I just wasn't seeing it because it didn't match my old identity. But now that I changed on the inside, suddenly I see this thing completely differently. And it's so easy. All you need is to maintain that belief that I am already this person. And if you come across a circumstance that tells you that you don't have this thing yet, that is not a problem, because you didn't say, I already have the thing. You said, I already am the person that naturally has this thing. Those are not exactly the same things. You can be the person on the inside before you see the result in your physical life. You don't actually need a thing in your physical reality in order to be the person who naturally is that thing or naturally does that thing. Think of it like that. If I say, I am a runner. So if you're saying that and you're not running right now, does that mean that you're lying to me? If you're a person who loves jogging, do you have to jog 24/7 in order to be that person? Of course not. So if I meet you at the grocery store, have never seen you running, and we start talking, and you say I love jogging, I am a person who loves jogging, does that make it a lie just because you're not jogging right now? It's not a lie. Just because it's not here right now doesn't mean that you are not the kind of person who has that, or that you're the kind of person who doesn't deserve that, or whatever else you were attaching to this belief in the past. You can be this person even if the thing is not here right now in your physical reality. And the more you feel like this person, the faster you will move to the reality where this is actually true. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, because I put out new videos every Sunday to help you manifest an amazing life.